Welcome to Saints at Manahawkin United Methodist Church. We have very special guests today, Arleen and Bill Logan. And they've been a long-time members of our congregation. We are recording this episode in honor of their 65th wedding anniversary.
Thank you.
That's nice.
Thank you for coming once again. I want you to relax as if you're talking in your living room, okay? Let me begin with your growing up years. What was it like when you were growing up? Let's begin with Arleen.
Well, we were born in 1938 and 1939. Me being the youngest of the two.
Oh.
39.
Okay.
And our families were just coming around after the Depression. They were heading towards World War II.
Oh.
Things were not like they are today. We had very little, but we were very happy.
Now, you tell me that you have one sibling 1 year older than you.
I have a brother.
You have a brother
Yes.
1 year older than you are.
No, he's 5 years younger.
Oh, is that right?
No, when I said
38, 39.
that
You're
was
referring
Phil.
to him.
And I was the younger of the
I know.
of the
Yeah,
two.
I'm the old man.
So tell me, you have two children in your family. You and your
Yes,
younger
myself and my brother.
brother. Oh, okay, got
And
it.
Bill has one sister.
Okay, we'll hear
So-
it from later. Okay.
Okay.
So tell me about your family. You were very happy when you were growing up.
Very, very, very happy. And my mother had issues. She had depression. She was a very difficult lady. My father worked lots of hours. And he had two jobs. And he worked lots of hours. And money was tight. We made our own fun. We didn't have board games. One thing that I remember that sticks in my mind the most is my uncle gave us, my brother and I, we had an erector set. Now, I don't know where somebody must have given it to us. My uncle gave us a little steam engine. You put water in it
Wow.
and you make steam and it turns a wheel. And so we would make Ferris wheels and things with and we would have the steam engine that would make these things that we made work.
Really? It was
Yeah.
even moving too?
Yes, they would move. And you could make a train or whatever you
Oh, is
wanted
that
with
right?
it.
Yeah.
So they were the kind of things we did. We
Yeah.
had marbles and we had paper dolls
that's
and we
right.
had dolls were my whole life.
You had so
I like
much
to
fun.
sew.
Yeah.
And so I made clothes for my dolls, sometimes out of napkins, we didn't have a store to go to buy anything.
That's right.
We had to make our own.
When you were
Make it fun.
growing up, you were growing in a neighborhood
Yes.
that had a lot of kids.
A lot of kids.
Oh, I
And
see.
what we didn't do vacations. The people on our street were kind. They looked after
Yeah.
one another, and
Yeah.
we would have street parties. Everybody was in the same boat. Nobody had anything. Nobody went on vacation. A couple times during the summer, they would block off the street. Somebody would have some music, a banjo or something. They would play music. We would party. The women would make food, and we'd set up tables out on the sidewalk. Because we were 2-story row homes. That's how we made our fun, and we didn't know any different. That was our whole life, and it was a good life.
That's right. So
And
you were
we were
born
well
in
taken care
Philadelphia.
of.
You were born in Philadelphia. And
In
grew up
Philadelphia.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. In the section now where you couldn't go without a gun in your pocket.
Nowadays.
It's really bad, yeah. But back then, it wasn't like that.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
and we walked everywhere, of course.
Yes.
Or we didn't have football stadiums, and we didn't have swimming pools. We had fire hydrants, and
Someone opened the fire hydrant, and you had such a fun.
there was someone in charge on our block that had the key to the fire hydrant. And then we put it on for as long as we could until the cops would come and shut it off. And then
was
when
gonna
they
say.
leave, we put it back on. Yeah. So, but that was our life. It was a good life.
Oh,
and the
right.
people were good. The people, all blue collar.
Oh,
Everybody
so,
was blue collar.
oh, right.
Everybody worked for someone.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's good. Now
yeah.
let's go to Bill. So you two were born in
I was born in
Philadelphia and
Philadelphia.
raised
Yeah, I
as
was born
well.
in a section of the city called Fishtown. That goes back in the day when they were fish boats on the Delaware
Is
River.
that right?
Okay, yeah, and
Oh,
part of Fishtown. The hospital I was born in, it was called Episcopal Hospital.
no,
All right.
Episcopal Hospital. Okay.
I come from a very good family. Mom and dad both worked.
Hmm.
Dad worked for the Philadelphia Inquirer. Okay,
Oh yeah, it's a
and
newspaper.
as
Yeah,
Arlene said, that
yeah.
most of our enjoyment was we had for ourselves.
Hmm.
We had almost every neighborhood in Philadelphia had its own movie house, and as we grew up, we went to the movies on Saturday afternoon, and Mom would give you your quarter to go to the movie, and they always gave dishes away, some type of a dish. It would be a sugar dish or a soup bowl or something, and if you got it home not broken, you were good.
Oh
Okay,
really?
yeah. After being in the movies, it was a really interesting life because, like I said, born in 1938. By the time I was 3 years old, 41, the United States was starting heading into the Second World War.
Absolutely.
Right. So I often said that we both grew up with the Second World War. We really did because we had so many factories within the city of Philadelphia.
Uh-huh.
Right. They were producing goods
Oh,
for the Second World War. I can
that's right.
remember times there was a huge railroad not too far from where we lived, and we used to stand on the sidelines and watch the tanks loaded on
Tanks?
flat cars
Oh, wow.
being driven down to the or being trained down
Oh,
to the
really?
river to be put on boats to go
Wow.
overseas. So
Wow.
it was an interesting time back and then.
Yeah.
We also went through what they called it with the civil defense era, with the air raids
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah. You did a
blackout.
lot
We
of
had
drills.
blackout shades, and
Oh, yeah.
my father was a civil defense member, where he had a badge that he wore when his sirens went off, and he'd have to go out and make sure everybody turned their lights off and
Oh, I
stuff like
see.
that there. So it was a really interesting
Interesting
time
time.
back then, and it was a good time.
Yeah.
It was a really good time. I got very heavily involved in Boy Scouts.
Mm-hmm.
My family went to an Episcopalian church in a section of the city called Port Richmond. So
Mm-hmm.
we go from Fishtown to Port Richmond,
Mm-hmm.
right? And from Port Richmond, they moved to a section of the city of Kensington. And that's what Arlene was just referring to now, that Kensington is such a drug area now that I look at an
Oh,
area when her and I were in our teens, and when I first started to meet her, we used to walk what we call the Avenue. All right, you couldn't walk the Avenue nowadays. You couldn't do that nowadays. It's a shame what had happened
is that
there and
right?
how it's turned.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
From there, my family moved into a section of the city called Wissinoming. All right, and I
Still
was
in Philadelphia.
still in Philadelphia. All
Mm-hmm.
sections of the city. Yeah, the city's broken down into hamlets, as you want to, if you want to call them, because there was the Frankfurt section, because there were stagecoach lines years back in
Oh, I see.
those
Okay,
days,
okay.
So, and they just got absorbed by the city. So,
Oh, I see.
so it was a great time back then. The sad parts would be with I was very fortunate that my grandparents, right, my dad's mom and dad, um, owned a home in Stone Harbor, and I can remember standing on the beach in Stone Harbor and seeing flashes out in the ocean, and my dad telling me, "Bill, they're
Oh,
probably chasing a sub or something like
oh,
that." There,
really?
really, yeah.
Where is Stone Harbor in New
And
Stone
Jersey?
down
Harbor is
down the
north
shore.
of Wildwood. It's between Avalon and Wildwood.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Yes.
it's
Oh,
right. Yeah,
south of us from here.
it's south of us.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
What I
yeah.
just want to tell you was,
Yeah.
I and not to interrupt him, but
But she
I
will.
am. See, when I met Bill,
Okay, let's
I
go
had
into that.
no.
How did you meet? Okay.
Oh,
You want
Oh,
her
it's
version or
another
my
story.
version?
We need to
Yeah.
hear
he picked me up when I was coming off of a church trip
Okay.
from Ocean City, and
Oh,
he picked me up in the corner because he was hung with some friends on the corner.
okay.
And I didn't want anything to do with them because I thought they were roughnecks. So I always ignored them. So I got off the bus at the church. My church was at the corner where they hung out.
Yeah.
And so I got off the bus and I was carrying stuff. And he approached me and said, "Could I walk you home?
Oh.
I'll carry those things for you." It was very smooth.
Now, how old were you at the time?
We were about
15.
15.
Yeah, we've known each
You were
other
Between
since
15
we
and
were
16.
You both were in high school then.
Now, in
Yes.
defense of myself and hanging on the corners, okay? All right? All right. When I said we were heavily involved in Boy Scouts, when we lived in Port Richmond, I went to the Boy Scouts and I was in Troop 10, okay? When my family moved from Port Richmond to Kensington,
So
but
you
when we
moved
moved to
into
Kensington,
Kensington
I
where
found
she was
another
living.
Boy Scout troop to get with, which was Troop
Oh, I see.
148.
Yeah,
I'll never
yeah.
forget it.
Yeah.
And I met a tremendous bunch of guys. We were really
Oh,
good.
yeah, okay.
They're all around the same age, and to this day, I still have one buddy left. He just turned 85,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he's in a home right now. But
Well, that's
when
good.
we used to leave the Boy Scout meeting, right, we would walk to what we call the hill because she lived at the top. Had to go up the top of the hill. Well, it was row homes, and it was
Okay.
there were other people there, like female people, and the girls would come out with their 45 record player, and we never got in any trouble.
Oh,
we
yeah,
were
yeah,
not
yeah,
we
yeah.
were not roughnecks, and we didn't
yeah.
really know because we went from the Boy Scouts to a gang, so and that
yeah,
type
yeah.
of
Oh.
thing. But it's true. She was getting off the bus, and she come walking by, and she was really cute. Okay.
Was it the first time you saw her?
First
or
time
you-
I saw her. First time I
Really?
saw her, and she said hello to some of the guys. She knew some of the guys. I don't know
see,
how.
but not Bill.
But I turned around and said to my best buddy, Jack, I
Yeah.
said to Jack, I said, "Who's that?" And he said, "Oh, that's Arleen Wolf." I said, "Really?" I said, "Geez, I need a date." I said, "For the snowball dance coming up for the Boy Scouts." Right?
Oh.
He says, "Yeah." I says, "Yeah." He said, "Well, you better check with Frank Murphy because he's dating her."
Oh, I see.
So, not being bashful, I called Frank Murphy. and Frank says, "Yeah, go ahead. I can't get anywhere. Every time I'm with her, she brings her brother down. I can't."
For your own protection.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
So-
But-
Now, tell me, before we go on to your real interesting stories afterward, but tell me about this church picture, right?
Yeah, this
I'll
is my.
show you on the screen.
I
later
have
on.
two
Yeah.
from two different eras, but this is my favorite one, and this is. I brought this to show an example of the amount of kids that were
Kids in
in
the-
our youth group,
Absolutely.
just in grade school, because
Great school.
the older children had their own,
On youth
their
group,
own
whatever,
youth
yeah,
group.
Yeah.
but I counted the other day about 75 people on
That's
here.
amazing.
It's hard to count them.
I know.
But it was a Tom Thumb wedding,
Yeah.
and that was big back in the day,
Yeah.
and they were fundraisers for the church. So the people in the front were all part of the wedding party,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
then they had famous guests come. I was some opera singer. I had to sing always, and it was the song always, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
And then we had Bo Peep down here in the front. She was Bo Peep.
Okay.
And so it was just a real fun time, and it
Yeah.
was cost a little bit to go,
Oh, yeah,
you know. And then they'd have refreshments afterwards and all. And this
Oh,
was
that's-
at St. Philip's Methodist Church.
It
Now,
was Methodist church.
yes,
Oh.
and that's how Bill became part Methodist. And
Methodist converted.
now,
Yeah.
you have to understand, my family was not religious at all. My
Yeah.
father, I shouldn't say that. My father was going to be a priest, and he met my mother,
Oh, I
and
see.
then so
So tell me again
So-
the name of the church. St. Philip's?
St. Philip's Methodist.
Is this still in existence?
It is, and it's a very sad thing.
Oh.
Of the last I heard, there were like 15 people that still went
St.
there,
Philip's.
and it
St.
was.
Philip's, okay.
And
We were married in St. Philip.
we were married in St. Philip's, and our children were all baptized there.
Oh, okay.
It was an amazing church. We had a pastor who had small children himself. He was really dedicated to children. And it was
amazing.
a big it was beautiful.
So beautiful. Thanks for bringing that picture. So
Yeah, you're
let's now go into the next question I have about your faith. How did you become a Christian? I mean, you remember going to church from all the years and so forth, but
Well,
do you have some special moments you would call God moments or something very memorable?
oh, absolutely.
Okay, would you
Yes.
share with us?
We went on a trip with. We had two buses. We went down to the Billy Graham Crusade.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing.
Mm.
It was probably. It was mind blowing. It was just. He was amazing.
Yeah, so the stadium was packed with people, so many
Oh.
people, right?
Very packed.
Yeah.
And they invited you to
Yeah,
come to the
forward. Yeah,
altar.
that's right.
It was
Wow,
beautiful.
Wow. Now, how old were you at the time?
13.
13, yeah.
Yeah. And we also, besides that, our church group, you see, my church family there, when I was a child, was everything to me. That was all my entertainment.
That's good.
Because we had so many groups in the youth group and so many activities and
Yeah.
skating parties and all kinds of things that we did. So everything I did was with my
Church
group.
related. Oh, right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
And it was my foundation
Absolutely.
that I didn't have at home.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was just the best time ever.
absolutely.
And I only went there because my uncle knew some people over there, and he talked me into going there when I was small.
Oh, yeah.
Because my parents didn't go to church.
So your uncle was a big influence.
He was
while
an
you were-
influence to me. Yeah. He didn't go himself, but he talked me into
Always.
going, and I got very hooked on the whole
I'm
thing.
glad that you did.
Yeah. It was everything to me. And back to what Bill said about his grandma lived in Stone Harbor. When I met Bill, I thought he was rich, you know.
Boy, so full of heck out of, she thought she was marrying up, boy, she
I
got a
had
rude
never
awakening.
even been to Stone Harbor. And the other thing was he had all these aunts and uncles and all these cousins, and I had none.
Oh,
I had
so
no
it's a big
family at
family,
all.
I come
And
from
he
a
had-
big family.
He had a wonderful family.
Now, wait a minute. Help me out. Stone Harbor is a rich town?
Oh, now you couldn't even buy a brick there now.
Really?
Really, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why you thought he was a rich
Oh yeah,
kid.
yeah.
Oh.
Well, no,
Oh, yeah.
back this where she's talking back in the 50s and
Oh, even back then.
yeah,
It
my
was,
grandparents.
It was very upscale.
I don't know which one.
Upscale.
My grandmom Logan, my father's mother,
Yeah.
was a staunch Irishman.
Oh, okay.
She was
Northern Ireland.
You have.
Northern Ireland.
She was from Northern Ireland,
Isn't it
and
Catholic?
she
though?
let you know she was from Northern Ireland.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Very Protestant.
Grandpa Logan was
Very
born.
Protestant. Oh.
Grandpa Logan was born in Philadelphia.
Oh.
Okay, but his parents, my great grandparents, all right, were born in Scotland. Okay.
Did they get along well? Scotland's and Northern.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Irish,
that's
Scotland,
that
Irish,
tight.
very, very, very
They were
well.
all the
Now,
Protestants.
the point of saying that is I'm trying to pick up when she's talking about us having money. Somewhere along the line, my grandmother came into some money from Ireland somehow. Okay.
Oh,
And my
that's right.
grandfather retired, and he had been coming to Stone Harbor to go fishing with his friends from work. That's how Stone Harbor came into the picture, right? So they bought a small cottage in Stone Harbor, right? And they retired there. But there were what they call the courts. They were small streets with bungalows up and down the streets. There was Bower Court, Stone Court, and Weber Court, okay? And they had these small cottages. So Grandma and Grandpa Logan bought a few of these cottages,
Oh.
all right? And that was their income, all right, back in the day.
I see
Because
what
Grandma
you
Logan then was young enough to go and clean these, get them ready, and rent them out for the summertime. So that's where she gets the
All
idea.
right. So let's
We had
continue.
money. Go
You
ahead.
thought you are getting to know this rich kid from Stone Harbor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you discovered that it was not the case.
I don't know if I ever went over the bridge to Jersey at that point in time. So yeah, I saw it. And you know what? His family. See, we had no family, and but his family on Saturday nights they all got
Oh,
together and they played
you always.
canasta, and they had refreshments, and oh, I
Oh,
loved it.
oh, you would,
I
yeah.
was it was wonderful. They had to
Oh,
really. I
Yeah.
have. I've been lucky to have incredible in-laws.
amen.
My
That's
my
good.
my mother's side of the family was was more together than my father's side.
Yes, 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 yeah,
So
yeah.
when we moved from Kensington to Wissinomie section of the city, we happened to move next door to one of my mother's sisters, and a few of her others lived close by. So as Arlene said, they would get together on a Saturday night with their husbands, and and there'd be
That's, yeah,
quite
yeah,
a few, and they'd sit around the table
yeah.
and they'd smoke and have adult beverages, but it was all done in good fun.
Yeah,
They
They
would
were
play
good
canasta,
people.
and her and I would walk in, and she loved it. She loved being there, and she sat there,
absolutely.
and yeah, and
Yeah,
we
and you know too when they growing up in those rented homes, wherever Bill's mother and father moved, they always moved next to a relative.
Oh,
There
that's
was
right. Yeah,
very relative
that's right. Yeah,
orientated.
yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
There was
Family
next to
oriented.
one
So
of his
tell me
aunts.
then, you brought the next picture, which is your wedding picture. What year? How old were you when you
I was
married?
19. Bill was 20,
Oh, you
and
just
it was in
graduated from high school.
1959. Yes, I
1959.
graduated in 56. We got married in 59.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, after I graduated, Bill went into the army,
Oh,
and
he went into the
when
army.
he came out, we got married.
Oh,
Well,
And
actually, she graduated in June of '56.
oh,
I graduated in January '57. I graduated January 14th. February 7th, I was in Fort Knox, Kentucky.
why you
My
graduated one
dad
year
got rid
later?
of me. My dad got me right in the service.
I started school young,
Oh, is that why?
and I skipped the
And
grade.
and
Oh
in
my,
my
you were smart.
yes, and in my younger years,
No, they
Yeah.
were
I get
crowded.
left back a year. I got left back half a year.
Oh,
In Philadelphia, you used to have the grades used to be 1A,
that's right.
1B, 2A,
Oh, is that
2B.
right?
Yeah, well, I ran into a physical problem in my younger years and spent 28 days in the hospital.
Oh,
So they couldn't advance me to my next grade. They wanted me to redo that grade. So
oh,
they
I
held
see.
me back for that.
Oh,
I
I see,
had
I
half a
see.
grade,
You know,
which made me 18 going on 19
can you imagine if you had not been left behind 1 year or whatever, you would
Yeah,
never met her.
maybe
Yeah,
not. Who
that's
knows?
right.
Yeah,
And she
you
was
don't know.
advanced. So you were here, she was here, like this. And
Well, Pastor, I'll
yeah,
be very honest with you. There were
yeah.
two things
Mm-hmm.
that straightened me out in life.
Mm.
One was her in the army.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, somebody had to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so after you got married and you started working, right? By then you were out of the army.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Well, he was in the reserves,
Oh,
so
reserves,
he was
okay.
going in the summertime and all for his
Oh,
They had a
vacations.
they had a they had a program back then. It was 6 months active duty,
Mm-hmm.
6.5 years reserves.
Oh, that's what you were doing.
So
Oh, I
yeah,
see, I see, I see.
that's what happened there. So
Oh, wow.
I was guided into that. My father
So you,
guided.
you still stayed in Philadelphia after you...
Yeah, we stayed in Philadelphia. We got married in '59. Our first child was born in 1960. Bill Jr. 2 years later, we had Michael.
Okay.
1962, and in 1964 we had Connie Lee in the latter part of '64, in November. I went to work for AMP,
AMP.
AMP's retail
Supermarket.
stores,
I know.
Atlantic
AMP.
Pacific Tea Company.
Yeah.
I had worked for them part time after school, all right. And when I come back out of the service, I didn't want to go back in the stores, but it didn't work out. I was working for a printing company, as the rest of my family, my grandfather, my father.
Oh, yeah.
But the bottom of that industry fell out. I got laid off. Arlene was pregnant. I had to do something. I went back into the stores, And I just said to myself, this is it. Let's see how far you can go. All right. With a lack of formal education, within about 10 years, I was managing. Really. I just pushed and pushed and pushed. And of course, she had to give up a lot, because I was putting a lot of hours in to
Yeah.
get ahead. And I managed for about 12 years. And we left the friendship in 1977. From there, I worked for another company for 10 years. We were partners in our business. I opened up a printing business, a small franchise printing business,
You did pretty good.
and we were successful.
We did that on a real shoestring,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm very proud because we worked so hard. We bought it from scratch, and we started from scratch. It wasn't an existing store we bought. Built it up, and we had it for 18 years. And then our son Michael bought it. He was with us the whole time. And so he bought the business, and he's still in business, and he's doing amazing.
That's good. That's good.
And it's 39 years now.
Yeah. See.
And-
Okay. I like to hear how you convert this Episcopalian boy into the Methodist man.
He didn't have a choice. I just struck him with me.
No, so in other words, after you got married in the Methodist congregation,
Yeah.
you just went
I just stayed
going
with
to
the
church
Methodist.
at the
Yeah,
Methodist,
wherever.
right?
Yeah,
In all
I couldn't
honesty-
see. It didn't make
Much difference.
to
right?
me. Yeah, and I have a different philosophy than a lot of people do. There's only one God, so
Yeah,
you
okay.
can any church
Yeah. Tell me,
got the same
Bill,
God.
We
So
heard about Arleen's very special experience with the Billy Graham crusade.
yeah,
And do you have anything like that you could share with us? One or two, you felt God is really close to me, and
I'll tell you the truth, and it's going to sound funny, but my wife,
oh wow, tell me a little more.
really, her devotion to the Methodist religion and how she loves it.
Yeah.
Really, and I was not going to fight that and say I want to go to Episcopal Church, right? And so that's really what's helped
She's
me.
been a good influence
Yes,
on
that's
your
been an
faith,
influence. Yes, it has. Yeah.
I should tell you too that Bill's family
Yeah.
were very active in their church.
In
His
their
father
church,
was the church treasurer. His mother was. We told her she was the
It
pillar
was an
of the
Episcopal
church.
church too.
Oh,
Yeah, an Episcopal church.
so,
And as a matter of fact, she passed when she was 94, and she passed in March. And that December that had just passed, she ran the whole church bazaar. She was dedicated every minute till the end. She was good people.
absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
So let's move on to our next topic. How did you come to Manahawkin Methodist Church? After you retired, I guess.
Yeah,
1997, didn't you
when
say?
we moved down here
What year did you-
permanently,
what year did you move down here?
Well, we
We-
were weekenders.
Oh yeah, okay.
We bought a home in around 1990, 91, I think it was. So we were weekenders. You go ahead.
yeah, we were weekenders,
Mm-hmm.
and then when we decided to move down here permanently, then we started to look for a Methodist
church,
church
yeah.
down here.
Yeah.
And when we came here, checking it out to see where we thought we would fit in, Well, we were just so well received and such a friendly congregation. That's the thing. The people here are our best friends.
Do
Down
you
here.
remember who was the minister at the time?
Clark.
Clark. Oh,
Well, Clark later.
Clark had just came.
just came. He came here about 2003, 4.
Oh, and that wasn't Clark then.
No, it was
Somebody else before Clark. No,
somebody
Vivian?
before Clark.
Vivian, well, woman minister.
Not
No?
sure. Really,
Before that.
No,
Really
Vivian
didn't-
was here. The woman was here.
Yeah, Vivian.
Yeah, Vivian. She was here. And then Clark, I think.
Yeah, she was here
Yeah.
1997 through 2004.
Okay.
And Clark
Yeah,
was
so
here
in
2004.
she was here first, and then
Yeah.
Clark was here.
And
So
we
somewhere-
really didn't throw ourselves into the church,
Yeah.
the usefulness to the church, until around 2006, I guess, is when we retired. Okay. Because then I could be down here full time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there was no sense me trying to be a weekender and still, do
That's
things for
true,
the
yeah.
church. But I got involved on the house committees and was very involved with the committees with the church for the longest time there. And Art Hill was, I think, chairman of the committee, and and George and all. They were all
You mean the trustees, right?
trustees. Yeah, I was a trustee for I think
Ah, I
for a
see.
while. Yeah,
That's right, yeah.
and
So you're right. By the time you were involved with the trustees and so forth, at the time Clark was the minister.
Clark
Yes.
was here. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun back then. It really was. And then I got involved with the choir. And
I
of course,
remember,
Of course, I
yeah.
lost my vision, so I no longer can be involved in that.
He
Can't
still
get-
loves the choir and the
Absolutely.
choir people.
It
He has
kills me.
girlfriends in
You
there.
have no idea. It just tears me apart not to be up there. But
All right. So let's go to the next question then. Your life principles that you always follow. Should we go with Arleen? Arleen,
Yes.
would you like to share
Well,
with us?
yeah, I brought this book. My granddaughter gave us a subscription to this company that puts a book together for you over a course of a year.
That's
This is my life story book, and a lot of different things in here, a lot of pictures and things in here too. But in the back of the book, I put in here messages that I wanted to leave our children and our grandchildren. And also, I left a private message to Bill. We won't get into that one. That
All
one's
right.
private. But this one, for the grandchildren,
Yeah.
I told them, life is all about choices. Choose wisely. Surround yourself with people who have high standards. Always do a little more than is expected of you, and you'll always do well.
That's wise advice.
Yeah, because I'm an advocate of fighting for the rights of children that are bullied. Bullying is always a big problem for me.
Yeah.
And so for my great-grandchildren, I said, don't be a follower, be a leader, stand up for what you believe in, choose your friends carefully, but always be kind. They're doing pretty good. I'm pretty happy with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So.
Bill, what was your life principle that you've been following along? And
well, honesty.
honesty.
Yeah, I'm big on. I'm big on that. Don't lie to me. Okay, really.
Could you tell?
Yeah,
if
and
someone
also,
told you?
I have a few quirks. I mean, it really annoys me. I like to be informed. I like to know what's going on. Okay, just maybe the knowledge is not going to do me any good, but I like to know what's going on, and I like to be fair with somebody. I always look at someone. I put myself in their shoes. Okay, I try to be fair. I try to be firm, but fair. I learned that years ago. I learned that when I got into management. Okay, they told me be firm but be fair, and I've always thought, and always don't jump at conclusions. Think it out. Think it out. It's always worked. I have prayed to God many a time for help. Really. Okay, and some things have worked out in my favor, and some things hasn't. But I've never turned them down. Okay, but I'm sincere. I thought that be fair, be firm.
Be
Be with
firm.
I have
but be
one
fair.
thing I would like to go back on
Yeah.
when
go
you
ahead.
talked about our marriage
Yeah.
and our young age. We had to go to a justice of peace to get the licenses.
Okay.
Our parents had to be there to sign for it because we were both under 21.
Oh.
Okay, and Arleen lived out in the country then. She did no longer live in the city. She's very fortunate that her grandmother gave her mother and father a home in a section of Bucks County called Andalusia. So we had to go to, it was in the evening. Her father, my father, the four of us drove out to to the Justice of Peace to get the marriage license.
Okay.
It was a woman.
Oh yeah.
She was a woman, right? And as I'm getting as we're getting ready to leave, she turned around and she says, "Mr. Logan." And I turned around and said, "Yes." She says, "I have something I want to tell you." She says, "Marriage is not a 50-50 proposition."
All right.
And I looked at her and I figured, oh, well, here it comes. Now, what's she going to tell me, 60-40, you know? And she said to me, she says, "It's 100% cooperation on both sides."
Both sides.
And I have never forgot it.
That's great. Yeah. And that's the truth in your
That
marriage.
is the truth,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Yes.
So this picture was taken in a church.
59 in St. Philip's.
So you had a church wedding,
Oh,
yes.
but you also went to the Justice of Peace to.
Well, just to get the license.
Just to get the license.
Oh, before
we
the
had
wedding.
to go.
Yeah, just to get the license, yeah.
Really?
Like a couple weeks before.
Nowadays you go to the township.
Yeah,
hall.
so we'll see. It was the same kind of a thing. We had to go sign.
She did fail to tell you something.
Yeah.
She was 45 minutes late getting to the church.
Well,
Now years
I'm a little
later,
slow.
she's bringing up too late, Bill. Too late.
I'm a little slow.
No, I'm sure she was nervous.
No, my best buddy went and picked her up, and I have now, I think he did it on purpose. I don't know, but he got lost.
Oh, you got lost.
Yeah, he got
Well,
lost.
maybe you're.
Well, she was living
friend.
in the country then, so yeah, he was nervous. Yeah.
You know what? Since it's not on our agenda, but since you've been together for 65 years, if you'd like to give one piece of advice to newly wedded or about to get married, what advice would you give? You already did. Justice Peace. Marriage is, 100% preposition.
That's the best advice.
That's the best advice.
That
Still
is
with the
really-
same thing.
Yeah, it
What
really
about
is
you?
the best.
One thing we never had
Yeah.
is his night out or her night out. We never
it was
had
always
that.
our night out.
It was our night out, right? We were, when we first started out, we had our first child. We didn't have a lot of money. We lived in a row home, right? Very small, tiny row house.
Yeah, that's right.
The people living next door to us, a young couple, same boat. They're in the same boat.
Yeah.
And our Friday nights were, right? We would buy some donuts.
If we had money.
If we had money, we'd buy donuts, and Leona would come over and sit with her, and they'd have coffee.
Yeah.
Joe and I would be next door, right, playing a game, playing some kind of a game or something there. And when the coffee was ready, they'd bang on the wall, right? We know to come over and get our coffee and donuts. So that's how it went for so many years. That
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? We were happy.
That's right. Yeah.
and didn't
You
know it.
We had 3 children in this little teeny tiny row
That's
house.
right.
We had to tile the floors because the kids got splinters in their feet from the wood on the
Oh,
floors.
really?
Oh yeah,
It was not even carpeted?
No. Oh no, there was no money for carpet.
Oh, is that right?
But we tiled the floors. We had fun. We really did. We made our own fun the same way as we knew growing up. Growing up it's
Nowadays,
but-
it's so alarming that more than half of the young couples get divorced within the first 5 years.
Years,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's very alarming.
Yeah.
well, they don't want to make do with anything. They always want more. It's such a materialistic
Well, yeah,
world.
they look at what they call the Joneses. Joneses got this and the Joneses got that. And we had friends like that.
Or
That
they may think that it's 50-50. I'm doing my part, you're not doing your part. You see, instead of 100% on both sides.
Yeah.
And the other thing is they're to make ends meet because they want to have all these extras.
True. As you say, Joneses.
They drift apart because honestly believe this. When we were raising our children, I wasn't thinking of working. I worked sometimes at night when Bill would be home. I was a checker for the A&P.
Yeah.
He would get me a job, and I'd be a meat wrapper too. He'd get me another job, right, at nighttime, but to make ends meet. But to buy the essentials things we needed. We were always together, and we worked very hard together. And especially when we started that business, we were working around the clock. We had Thanksgiving one night at 11:30 at night, and my daughter-in-law brought it to us in the back room of the shop
back room
because
of the shop.
we couldn't leave. We had a job. We had to get
So
out.
we had to get out.
And we didn't have fancy equipment then. Now they have everything in the shop. But
You know, Arleen
back
said
then we didn't. We had to do it by hand.
Arleen said we had the job for 18 years, and our son Michael now has had it for 18 years.
Yeah.
So it's been in business for 36 years.
You didn't typeset, did you? Like set all these.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't do hard typesetting. No, but we did get into the typesetting type where we did it on the computer and stuff like that there, and that evolved into one thing into another. And basically, it's our son Michael saw that the technology was
Yep.
here with me, and it was time for Daddy to go away. Well, she was my partner.
Yeah.
So she had no choice, you know. I mean, it was an opportunity. It was an opportunity. I was 67 years old. I had planned on going till I was 72, so he kind of jumped the gun on it, and it was a franchise, and we were heavy hitters in the franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we asked for something, we got it because we were
In fact,
doing.
our daughter just got an award for her sales across
Wow,
the
really?
country in the franchise. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, you get us on to go
Well,
into
they may
business.
watch
That'd be
this.
another video.
Our
Believe me.
kids work with our son. They, our daughter works for him, and my grandson and my daughter-in-law work there too.
Oh, right.
So
That's
But
good.
the church, this church,
Yeah.
has a real nice family behind it, really. And I've seen in just in the past couple of months the how the congregation is growing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting.
we're very impressed.
Very impressed at
Praise
what we
God for
see.
that,
After
We've-
COVID and after this affiliation, I guess you want to call it or whatever. And you know how I feel about that. So
We're excited. We see it every week now. And my thing is, if you feed them, they'll come. And we're doing all these activities where there's food involved. And then people come and they see that they're welcomed and they see that they're wanted. We're seeing some real growth, which is very exciting.
yeah, when you look
Thank
at
you.
Bob, who does the streaming, and he does a fantastic job. He
Yes,
really
yeah,
does.
he does, yeah.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
And Rick is always there for you. And Rick
that's
and
right.
Eva and.
That's right. Yeah.
She's, and Art Hill and Louisa with the gardening and stuff like that there. And I'll tell you, and it's not a crutch. I sincerely mean this. If I could see, I'd be here.
Yeah.
But I can't see, so I can't. I just can't jump in the car anymore and go anywhere. No. But
Bill,
the
thanks
church
for
is
being
beautiful.
there, every Sunday morning service.
Church, yeah.
Thanks to the driver here.
Oh yeah, my Uber.
Uber, that's good.
Uber, yeah. And she pushes herself some mornings to go because
Yeah, just one of
she's
the
not the
things.
best of health.
Do you have this principle or philosophy that when you're growing up, I better surround myself with some good company, or is over the years that you gain this wisdom?
We're off
For
the
you,
camera now. Are we done? Are we done?
No, we're still.
No, I knew who to pal around with and not who to. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Really, I knew who I
exactly.
wanted. I knew who I wanted for a friend and who I didn't.
The reason why I'm bringing up is because of really good advice, very good advice
Yeah,
for the young folks.
it is good.
Choose your company.
There's one thing we haven't given a lot of credit to
Yeah.
was our three children.
Yeah.
Our immediate three children, our Bill Jr., our Michael, and our Connie Lee.
Okay.
They are very supportive of us. Unbelievable how what they do for us. I mean, they all live in Bucks County, right? Arleen doesn't drive that kind of a distance,
Yeah.
and they'll come down and get us and take us up there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're you can't say enough good about them, really.
Yeah, that's
Well, they
good.
all three call us every day.
So you
Every
have a
day,
blessed,
yes.
blessed people and family.
But you're right. And the
Yeah.
other thing is too. One other thing is, if you're looking to marry someone, check out their family, because you marry the whole family. You don't just marry the person.
That's true.
And I got lucky because Bill had a wonderful
You
family.
thought this guy is from rich family, right? That's
I thought he was. I was marrying up.
marrying up. You know what?
Yeah.
Arleen, I think you almost could write a book about marriage.
Yeah,
Advice
well,
for.
when you're
Oh,
when you're
it's-
down here, anything looks good to you, you know. No, but he had that.
Oh, it's never been
The other
never
thing
been
is-
smooth sailing. It's been rocky.
No,
Rocky road
whose
there.
life is so smooth sailing? We
Oh
all
yeah,
have,
you,
know.
there's a whole lot in
Yeah.
between, you know, in 65 years. The other thing too, we just lost his sister,
Yeah.
who was like the
Oh, yeah,
sister I
Janet,
never
yeah,
had,
Janet, yeah.
and she was amazing to me,
Yeah.
and we had a wonderful relationship. But
Yeah.
when she was 8 years old and I was 16,
Oh.
and she was 8 years old
Mm.
when I met her,
Mm.
and I didn't know she was going to be my sister-in-law,
Mm.
Smart
but
news, too.
yeah, but he took such good care of her. I
Oh.
could see, and he talked nice about his family, you know,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that tells you something.
Absolutely.
If they talk nice about their mother and father, they're going to be nice to you.
Absolutely.
And he's always been family first.
Yeah, you asked about with couples starting out, and you have to be tolerant of one another.
Yeah.
Really, and it's not all roses. It's not
No,
all roses, and there are times when you think to yourself, "Why did I do this?" You know what I mean? And then
More
you
than
get up
once.
in the morning, and it's a new day. All right, and let's see what happens today. All right, and you
I
check.
think it's very important that you stick together no matter what.
Yes.
Sometimes, and
Communication, it's a
Yeah.
big thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You have to communicate the things that bother you,
Mhm.
or things that before they get out of control.
And I don't envy these kids going into marriage nowadays. It's so tough with the course of stuff, and there's no more traditional weddings. They
I
want to
know.
have a wedding in
Even in
Key
the
West,
church,
or they
they
want to go
don't.
to Costa Rica or someplace for a wedding. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Arlene and I, when we get married, her mother and father made all the food.
Yeah.
Right? Our
Absolutely.
wedding was on the second floor of the Polish American String Band Hall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In Philadelphia, and
Yeah.
it was one of the best weddings, and it was a traditional,
Yeah,
good
absolutely.
old.
Even church fellowship hall, they have a nice dinner. That's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
about
When
it.
my mother passed away,
Mhm.
I found this note in her valuable papers, and it was written by my father,
Oh yeah.
and it says Arleen and Bill's wedding.
Oh.
It says potato salad, how much everything was.
Oh, is that right?
Really,
$489 does not include pickles and olives. Ain't that cute?
Isn't that cute?
Imagine kids today getting a whole wedding for $500.
Tons
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, and that was a big deal to us, you know.
Wow, yeah.
Now it's thousands. It's such a
Yeah.
waste.
so that would be our message, right? Anyone is to make sure you know what you're getting into, okay, and just be tolerant of one another,
Yeah.
and don't think in 3 or 4 years you're going to end it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
It's a
don't
long,
waste your time. Really, it's never had that thought. I mean, I just
Yeah.
it was just okay. It's a problem. We'll get it straightened out. Let's see what we can do.
All right. Do you have anything else in your mind you would like to share with us?
No, I think
before
that's
we-
it.
That's it, Bill.
Just
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay.
This will conclude our interview with the Logans. Thanks for watching. God bless.
Yeah, you have a lot to edit. We did too much talking.